What's happening, everyone? My name is Pardon My Presence, and you are listening to the Pardon My Presence YouTube channel, a channel where I address common issues from a unique point of view. It's also a place where I pardon a space for critical thought and analysis in today's society, where well-informed, logical assessments are slowly becoming taboo. So I just want to get into the whole situation with Lil Wayne selling his masters for a cool 100 million. Now, when the story broke, it didn't make much sense. A lot of people were saying, well, this is kind of crazy because Lil Wayne's a big artist. He is arguably one of the best rappers of all time, although I don't really say so when I look at how long hip-hop and rap has been around and how many MCs have been in the game. But neither here nor there. Here's the situation that I don't understand, though. Is this all of Lil Wayne's catalog? Because Lil Wayne goes back to the age of 14. So that's decades of music, right? And I don't see Baby giving up Lil Wayne's masters for all of those years while he was on Cash Money. So from what I understand and what I read, this seems to be the music that Lil Wayne created after his Cash Money deal. Right, so that's when he broke free. I believe that is Carter 4 or Carter 5, and No Ceilings and some other stuff as well too. So it's post Cash Money, okay? But here's the part that baffles me that I don't understand, because I heard this afterwards when Lil Wayne was he's being sued. So with this lawsuit that came out, where Lil Wayne's ex-manager is suing him for unpaid dues or unpaid fees that's owed to the manager, it came out that Lil Wayne actually sold not just his masters, but all of the masters that were included in the Young Money imprint. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Young Money, that means Drake's entire catalog while he was on Young Money, Nicki's entire catalog, and Tiger's catalog as well too while on Cash Money. How is it that you sell all of those things for only 100 million? And just to give some perspective and some insight on this, it just came out around the same time that Bob Dylan, the old folk singer, Blowing in the Wind, all that stuff, he's very, very famous guy. He's a songwriter back in the 60s. He just sold his entire catalog for 300 million to the same company, Universal Group. So you tell me if that makes any sense. And again, when you look at the trajectory as far as Bob Dylan's songs and how much that's going to gross, and you look at Lil Wayne's trajectory as far as him being the most streamed artist probably in the last 2 decades, Nicki Minaj has been streamed as well too, a lot. For you, as the owner of all of these top tier premier artists who are still heavily active in the industry, who probably has more work to produce and the best is yet to come from those artists, why would you sell their catalog for only 100 million? All of them. To me, that makes no sense. And a lot of people were saying that, suspecting or alleging that Lil Wayne did this under duress because he's about to go to jail because he pleaded guilty for the whole gun possession thing. And they're saying that this was a shakedown, and in order to get the least amount of time possible, he had to sell or give up his masters at that price. Okay, now there might be merit to that, because when you think about the music industry and you think about what happened with Prince and how he died and how there was a dispute in regards to the ownership of his music, to the point where I believe it was Sony that was able to obtain the ownership of his music. And the same thing happened to Michael Jackson too. He died under suspicious circumstances, and for the longest time, because he was the owner of the Beatles catalog, and for the longest time Sony wanted to get that catalog back, and Michael Jackson would not sell it to them because the Beatles catalog is a very valuable piece of music, right? Very valuable catalog. And lo and behold, after Michael Jackson died under those circumstances, Sony was able to get back the Beatles catalog from the estate. So I don't put it past any music label, any conglomerate, to be involved in some type of shady deal or some type of shakedown to get artists to sell their masters under duress or for a lower value than what it's really worth. Because with Drake being as popular as he is, and the majority of his music was with Young Money, that's a lot. That's a lot of value right there. And because he's going to be streaming for a long time in the future, right, 10, 20 years, 30 years from now, they'll still be playing Drake songs. They'll still be reminiscing over Drake. They'll probably put out a lot of biopics and movies about Drake, and they'll use Drake's music. So I don't understand why you would take the short-sighted route and take $100 million and give up the opportunity to make so much more on the back end. And just to add more context to it, Imagine Dragons also sold their catalog for $100 million. Imagine Dragons, yes, they're very popular, but they don't have a long history, a long in-depth catalog like Lil Wayne has, with all of those artists on the Young Money imprint. So I don't understand how Lil Wayne sold for so little, and Imagine Dragons, with how many little albums they have, they're able to get the exact same price from, if not mistaken, the same company, Universal Records. So this is just another example of the poor decisions, the poor judgment of a drug addict, aka Lil Wayne, and the type of financial decisions that he makes. There was a time when he had a choice to depart Cash Money and sign with Jay-Z's imprint with Rockefeller, and he decided to re-up with Baby and get screwed over again with Cash Money. He made that decision. He made that choice. He called Baby his paw, and he decided to go along and make probably one of the worst decisions in his life. And the interesting thing about all this is the fact that Lil Wayne sued Cash Money and Universal Records for money that they owed him, and there was a big stall and hold up in regards to his career and his music and the album that he was supposed to put out, and they pretty much essentially ruined his career. And to see how all of that transpired, and finally there was a settlement, and finally he was able to release his much anticipated album, but at that point his buzz was gone. Right? His appearance started to falter. His enthusiasm for music started to falter. He was less in tune with the culture and where it was headed. He wasn't really good with social media. So he lost many steps. So they pretty much ruined his career with that situation. So for Lil Wayne to go through those legal troubles with Cash Money and Universal Records, it's kind of odd that I'm assuming that he was actually given the opportunity to own the music rights of Young Money, but to go through all of that and win his masters and his rights, to go back and now sell it to the same company that gave you all that strife, and to sell it at a lowball figure, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to me. And this just chalks up the whole situation with Lil Wayne and his poor decision-making skills. And I don't know what to say other than, kids, this is a walking, talking example of not to do drugs, not to drink lean, not to feel that you have to do drugs in order to be successful and to be talented and to produce at a high level. None of those things are required. It's going to burn you out, and you're going to look just like how Lil Wayne looks now, and that is not a good look whatsoever. So let this be a lesson for everyone. Have a good business understanding, have good business acumen, and understand if someone is willing to pay you, a business person is willing to pay you X amount of money for something that you own, understand they're doing it in anticipation that it's going to be a lot more valuable than what they are willing to buy it for. And if you understand that concept, then you might think twice about selling all that you have as value. And you might want to realize that, you know what? It's probably better I keep this if they want it so much, because it's probably worth a lot more than what I'm willing to sell it for, or a lot more than what I contemplated selling it for. Okay, so just some word of advice. Hopefully, this is not really true and there's other figures involved that we know nothing about, and he's going to get money on the back end. But things do not look good for Lil Wayne. This is almost like a move you'd make if you know your time is running out and you're ready to go off into the pastures like Old Yeller and get shot and get put down. That's what it seems like here. This might be the end of Lil Wayne's career, right? The nail in the coffin to say, look, if I go to jail for 3 or 4 years for this gun charge I pled guilty to, this is it, and I'm cashing out, and adios. And that's what it seems like to me. But you let me know what you think about the situation. But the one thing is clear is that someone's getting the short end of the stick, and very rarely is it the music industry conglomerates. Usually it's the artists. Until next time, Pardon My Presence, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you feel and what you think. Peace.